While this is loading, can I raise the hands? Who's been able to get into YouScience and use it? Anybody? The first two. Okay, awesome. Has anyone heard of YouScience? Have you guys at least seen a few trainings and whatnot regarding it? Awesome. Well, as Rod had said, you have a great tool to be able to use with your students. Just a quick background of me. My background is I taught special education for a number of years. Started in Southeast Idaho and then went down to Iron District, taught there for a while, and so have experience in the classroom, and being able to work at YouScience
in her college and career readiness
has been a huge blessing for me to be able to see just how we can help our students of all abilities across the board. And I've been with YouScience for 4 years now, and it just continues to grow, and the resources that are provided are just awesome. But I've been able to do a lot more work with special education, and as we talk about today, I want to make sure first that you know what the platform looks like. You all know, you should know, that you have access to it, your own account. You can get in and see your student's account at your schools. I want to share this video, this 4-minute introductory. It's actually a brand new video they put together, but it really shows the process, the pathway that the students will follow when they use YouScience going through their educational journey through high school and beyond. But as we think about the connection within special education, we want to make sure that every student has the opportunity and is given the opportunity to go through the brain games or the activities so they can see what their natural talents and skills are and abilities. So we'll show the video, and then I'll walk us through a little bit of the platform as far as what the students can see and how you can use the information to really start, write some effective, very specific IEP goals, transition plans to help the students as they progress into their careers. So this is Maria's journey.
Her teacher introduces YouScience Bright Path, a tool that helps her discover her aptitudes, explore careers where she can excel, and access opportunities like earning credentials and gaining real-world experience to achieve her goals. Maria begins the aptitude and career discovery experience, engaging brain games that feel more like fun challenges than tests. As Maria finishes, her results generate instantly, highlighting her aptitudes in spatial visualization, sequential reasoning, and numerical reasoning. She discovers her top cluster, healthcare and human services. Curious and a little excited, Maria's ready to explore her strengths and aptitudes. Maria, her parents, and her counselor review her results and explore healthcare and human services CTE pathways, careers, and post-secondary options. Together, they use BrightPath's College and Career Readiness Planner to build Maria's 4-year high school plan. Selecting her high school courses and mapping key milestones, like certifications, concurrent enrollment classes, and work-based learning opportunities. With new confidence, Maria begins high school with the opportunity to turn exploration into experience. Maria begins high school and retakes the aptitude and career discovery brain games to refine her results. Her profile confirms a strong aptitude for healthcare, leading her to take Introduction to Health Science, where she develops a passion for understanding the human body and earns her first industry-recognized certification. Maria sees how her school schedule and selected courses can align with her healthcare and human services pathway, setting her up to graduate as a concentrator in that area. She updates her 4-year course plan to include medical anatomy in 10th grade. Her counselor uses BrightPath's data-driven analytics to identify top-fit students for work-based learning opportunities, and invites Maria to join HOSA Future Health Professionals, an international career and technical student organization. She uses the platform's work-based learning tools to connect with a local clinic and earn an internship. There, she gains real-world experience by shadowing and learning from medical professionals. Now she's not just planning her future, she's living it. Maria refines her plan by adding advanced CTE courses like emergency medical technician, along with healthcare-focused concurrent enrollment classes that allow her to earn college credit. Using college planning tools in BrightPath, Maria explores healthcare-focused colleges and university programs. After reviewing her matches, she becomes excited about a program at her local university. With her counselor's help, Maria uses the platform's integrated financial planning tools and scholarship data to finalize her plan and apply for scholarships. Her certifications, academic achievements, and letters of recommendation earn her a full ride scholarship. Maria leaves high school with a plan and a purpose. Maria enters college as a biology major on the pre-med track. She continues using BrightPath as a digital portfolio to apply for internships, volunteer work, and future medical school applications. With BrightPath, every student, like Maria, can move confidently from education to career by discovering who they are, what they can do, and where they can thrive.
So it really is exciting to see what the students have available for them starting 7th grade when they get that idea, start that exploration, and it's just exciting to see what they're able to have as far as guidance and support from the schools, from teachers, and from the parents too. We also have, and I'll show this in just a bit, but we have a new feature coming online starting next month. We have what's called the Family Connect, so the parents will be able to have an account that accesses directly to their children's information within the YouScience. So then when their kids are getting certifications, they'll get emails saying, hey, your child got the certification in whatever course. When they do their work-based learning opportunities, as you see here, if you're able to log in, go ahead and do so. If not, and if you can't, let me know and I can get that taken care of. But when you first log in, these are the options that you and the students will be able to see. Students won't see the user administration, and we'll go there in just a minute to talk about how to manage your students. But they have all these options that are coming in, and YouScience has their terminology that they use. And so you see discovery. Within YouScience, discovery is talking about the aptitudes, their brain games, their skills. And so that's where they're going to go in to take their own brain games, get that understanding. And I will say this, we highly recommend, almost want to mandate, Rod, throw that in there, mandate, that every teacher should go through the brain games, because it is a great way for you to see what the students go through. You get the experience, because when you're talking to them, and really, and I say this from a special ed perspective, I want to prepare my students because they're going to go through these brain games. Now, we don't call them tests, but they're going to go in and answer questions, so it's going to feel like a test. But you want to prepare them for different aptitudes. Talk about the types of brain games, the type of questions they're going to have. So when you go through the opportunity, you get a chance to see what it's going to feel like. And then when you work with your students, be vulnerable with them. Man, this brain game was tough. I'm not really good at sequencing numbers or spatial visualization or whatever. But you can help your students prepare to get in to take the brain games. But then it also leads them when they can start working on the career plan, as they talked about in the video. The industry certifications, that's where they go to take the CTE certification exams, which we do provide, and which also the students have their account long after they graduate. So 5 years after graduation, they need to get a copy of the certificate from whatever course. It's in their account. It's there and ready to be used. There's information on education connections, so how to get to that career. Is it a 2-year, 4-year university? Is it tech school, trade school, whatever it is? That information is also here within the YouScience platform. Work-based learning opportunities, so when the schools are working with the students, whether it be through a transition plan, internship, apprenticeship, whatever it might be, schools are able to track that information, that experience, with the student and those local employers. And so whatever the students are documenting, if it's hours, if it's evaluations, anything and everything is going to be housed within the student's account. So just think of the power of that as well as they're building their portfolio, as we talked about. And then the career connections. We have an employee engagement section at YouScience, so we have hundreds of employers that contracted with us, so they're providing us with information about their company, where they're located, their logos. And so you'll see on the certifications, when the students get a certification, they'll see company logos that certification will apply to. But this is also a great way to help streamline when the students are searching for, okay, I've got my aptitude, I've got my strengths, these careers are coming up, and then here's some local businesses that I should reach out to. And so there's a great way to really hone in the students' experience, and as you as teachers can really help guide them in this process. So I want to take us through just fairly quickly, and I know this is the fire hose effect, a lot of information. We're going to work on some follow-up training after this. But when you go in, when you and your students go in, you want to take a look. Again, the brain games are in the Aptitude and Career Discovery tab. Oops, sorry, I need to back up one. Got to go to my demo student in just 1 second. Of course, this is also a good example of you can go into a student, any of your students, and impersonate them. Not sure I'm a fan of the impersonate, but we're going to impersonate our students so I can see what their results are. So I can come into Aptitude and Career Discovery, and it's going to show us through the Discovery Aptitudes. This is where the students get their first visual or understanding of what their strengths are based on their results. They see the talent wheel, they can hover over each one, click on each section, and it gives a quick description of what that aptitude means. But then they can go deeper into it by exploring. And this is where so much good information that helps the student understand, one, who they are and their aptitudes and how it applies their day-to-day life, have that conversation, what games do you like to play, why do you think this aptitude is your strongest? But it's also helping them describe those skills. One of the questions that can be difficult in an interview or putting in a resume, what are your skills? What are you good at doing? So you can actually read through and see some of these examples based on your aptitudes. And the students can save their favorited skills that they want to put in. It does bookmark it, so then they can go through and say, okay, I've saved these and I can see these descriptions of these aptitudes, of this particular aptitude that I have. They can also go in and view the career matches. And so this is where the students are really going, okay, I've taken the brain games, I understand my aptitudes, now what does that mean long term? Where can I go with this? What careers can I look at getting into?
It just is kind of a vertical alignment with this. It's, hey, there's this career, what are the classes that we could take in our junior high or high school? Who's from junior highs here? Junior highs, okay. So what are the classes in our junior highs that kind of connect to these professions? And so that's why I gave you this. It's a hard copy of something you can kind of look at, and it's at almost all of our classes. It's up to date course schedule, and it's by pathway. So you can kind of look that up there. It also has CTSOs, which they mentioned in there. That girl Maria, she joined HOSA. You know, those are all opportunities that students can have to kind of gain more career skills and opportunities to grow. So
I'm glad you said that, because actually just kind of reemphasize that too. The fact that Weber District does roster directly to the SIS into YouScience, so we do have the student information, so we know what, you know, courses that they're in within that group management section, which I'll show in just a second, but also the courses. So your school's courses are going to be live. They're going to be showing in the YouScience account, so it makes it easier for them to set up and you know, make the selections to those courses in the organization. Now I do want to call out, right here we're in the high school level, so the 9th grade and above view. So just a slight difference, fairly big difference I guess, from the middle school view. They're going to be able to come in and see these career cards, but they're going to separate them automatically from aptitude to interest, which is kind of a cool activity to see what type of careers are different based on the two. The high school, this brings up the overall fit. This is who you are, combining your aptitude and your interests. As they scroll down, they can see, high school, see the strong overall fit, down to good overall fit. Middle school, it doesn't call it out as obvious, but the stronger ones are towards the top and kind of breaks down that way. But each card, when you dive deeper into it, so if I want to be an instructional coordinator, each card, both middle school and high school, is going to provide some basic information about that particular career. So again, when your students complete the brain games, they're going to have this information. They're going to have best fit careers for them. And so just think of the ability to come in and say, okay, let's work on, you know, you're working on writing the IEP or a transition plan for a student. within this particular career, instructional coordinator, here's the day in the life, but also the core tasks. Now I would have loved this section right here, because now I'm looking at what are these day-to-day core tasks for this particular career. And I can write this, or a variation of these types of core tasks, into that student's plan. So then it becomes something they're going to practice, they're going to hopefully experience. And if they have the opportunity, or when they have the opportunity for an internship or another job shadowing work-based learning opportunity, they're going to be able to have that experience make even that much more sense. Oh, I did this, I've been working on this, and they can see that application of it. So this is one great way that you can help the students make that connection to this potential career. And it is one of those things, as you notice, when you get in there, there's a lot of careers up there, and it can be overwhelming. So you want to make sure the students, one, they know that it's not just, okay, here's what you're good at, stay on this pathway only. It's the chance for exploration. So they get a chance to come in and explore, learn more about these particular careers. The high school students will be able to see this alignment of their aptitudes compared to what's expected at the career. So the purple is the student, the white dots are the career expectations per those individual aptitudes. And then they can learn more about this particular career. Again, employers that we have in the system that help the student see what type of local businesses they could reach out to, related careers, how to get there educationally. And this is a great bit of information because, yeah, we know that there are students that they're in middle school, they've got a few years left ahead of them, right? Or in high school, a few years left. But this is also going to let them know in this career, maybe it's certifications, maybe it's internships or apprenticeships. It doesn't have to be a 2-year, 4-year university. So students who may not want to go to school for a long time after, this is a great way for them to see that, hey, I could get into this career by doing this other direction of education through those internships or apprenticeships or whatever. Any questions on that? There's definitely a lot that's within that particular area on exploring. I do want to show this other section within, again.
Down here, Paul.
Oh, yes.
I'm just curious, the purple's above the white, what does that mean?
So where the student's aptitude is just above what's expected within that career on that particular aptitude. And that's a great conversation, because sometimes you might be like, man, you have a higher aptitude than what's expected at that career. Or flip side, and it's not to say, well, don't look at it because you're lower in this particular aptitude, but as they learn about their strengths and how they apply those strengths, that's a conversation piece to have. I mean, one thing, as an example, my results, I'm strong in spatial visualization. I mean, I can scan documents, edit, all that stuff really well. One thing that comes up, it says, hey, you're good at this, strong aptitude, but one thing you might struggle with is doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely me. So the students are able to see that, if they look at a long-term or looking at a career, and if they're one that they need to be up moving around, if they get working in a cubicle, are they going to enjoy their long-term career? Probably not. So there's great ways for the students to really get in and analyze, learn more about the career. So great question, great question. So I want to show just this discuss together section. This is also as we are working with the students on learning how to describe who they are. This does provide key terms that describe the student. So as they go through this, recommend that they go into this quite often, read this, and hopefully internalize this information. If they're like, well, I'm not so sure I'm a concrete idea generator, they can filter this. They can chisel this down to what really they agree with. But it also has power statements that are great to be able to copy from here and paste into, we have a resume builder in the system as well. And so it's just a great way for the students to be able to not struggle so hard to get some good description, and especially to put it into a professional setting or terminology in their resume. So great resources that are available for the students. Okay, I'm going to step out of the impersonating. Rod, I'm going to jump back into your account, if that's all right.
Now, these guys, one thing you need to know, your 9th graders all took this. They take it in 7th grade also. They take like a smaller version of it. So like every single 7th grader in their CCA class should have done this. So you should be able to access that after the 7th grade, be able to access these. I think it's not as accurate a version because it's shorter and not quite as like intense, but it also is quick. It's a quick hitter, so you have some information to work on. One
Yeah.
ninth grade, we have asked, Matt Williams has asked every single ninth grader in your junior highs to take these brain games. And I think the count I had last week was 80% of the ninth graders have taken this this inventory. Now some of them may not have finished it completely, so it shows them as incomplete. So as you go in and you work with your IEP students or kids in your class, you might want to say to them, hey, you know, you need to finish this, or encourage them to finish it up. Because once it's done, now you get all this data that you can work off of. And I've witnessed the personalization with parents and kids when they see this, and it's a night and day difference in how that conversation goes in terms of their future. Because you can map out something that's analytical, and you can say, hey, this is good, really good stuff. So wanted to kind of give an amen to that part of it, and the state of the state in our district with it.
If there are 7th grade or 8th grade teachers here, they'd like to, because I think they can do the basic one, can they go deeper? Like,
Absolutely, yeah. When you go in, that's a great question, and if you have questions when you're doing it, you can also reach out to me, or you can send an email to our support at YouScience.com. But yeah, we recommend go through the middle school ones, because then you can share, again, the one-to-one with your students. Hey, I went through the same thing, these are my results. But then you can also go through the high school, and you'll have the ability to access both those levels. So that's a great recommendation. I appreciate that. So I want to show, I'm not going to use your account on the rest of this, Rod. So what I want to show here is that when you get into your school, since, yeah, I better get back to your account. Sorry. Really quick, on the fly. Since again, since you guys are rostering with YouScience, is bringing in every course that is offered at your school is going to be reflective in the group's management section. I'll come into the junior high on this one. And so what it's going to look like for you, again, when you come to your BrightPath homepage, you'll go to User Administration. Over on the left, you'll see this Groups icon. When you click on that, this is where you'll be able to see these groups. Now you can see the courses under there, and it's going to have every course that you have in the SIS is going to show in YouScience, which is great, because then I can say I want to jump into, well, I guess it kept me Roy High, but anyway, I can jump into that class and I can see these individual students. You see that they're in multiple groups, so they're not just limited to one group. They're in as many groups as they need to be put in or assigned. What I recommend, because I know each of you have your courses, your classes that have your special ed students, and you have a number of different classes, so the students are all over the place, right, throughout the day. I'm recommending as you go forward and you're working with your special ed students, your IEP students, creating a new group, and this is something I'm going to work with Ginger on, but we want to make sure that you have the ability to have a new group that you can have created. And so I'm going to go through this just short process to show what this will look like. You'll go in and create your group, call it whatever. Hit next, and if you have any of your TAs or other teachers that are part of that group or working with those students, you can assign them to this as well. Hit next, and then here I can I can search for the students, because this at this point has all the students that are in the school. Okay, so there's different types of filtering I can do. I can filter by graduation year or whatever, but if you just want to put in their name, you can search and bring in their name. I'm just going to select one for now, but I'll delete it after this. Once I hit confirm, now I have this group that is created with this particular student or these students. This way, you don't need to go fishing all the time for your students' information to see where they're at within the brain games, what the results are showing. You can actually come into this particular group, or when you're running a report, you can select for this particular group and have all your caseload students in that group. So it just makes it a lot easier for your ability to manage your students holistically, if that makes sense. Any questions on that? Okay. Oh, Rob, yep.
You know, and what, Paul, I've given you guys these booklets. Those are just, have all your classes, the junior high and the high schools for students. So as you're kind of projecting out over the course of their 3 years or 4 years, I don't know how far ahead you guys are planning stuff. This is really, you know, and I want you to keep in mind a couple things. First of all, we do like way cool stuff with, like, as students get further into their education, we want them to have real life experiences. So the classes that we're offering here at We Renovations going forward are all going to be connected to industry. So in other words, students are basically moving into their jobs. We have multiple, well, I think we have 15 different companies that are paying students for internships right now. So paid internships. We're hiring people within the district to do some of these in Sped and other areas. And so we want you to know, man, we're trying to move so that students get an authentic experience. Internships are wide open. They get connections with industry partners, and that none of the classes here are exclusionary to special education students.
Yeah.
They thrive here. The Catalyst grant we just earned, the 25-30 million nationwide, has been extremely favorable to special education students. Absolutely, because so many of these students are exceptional in certain areas of education, and it's their passion. But all too often, that gets lost in some of the ultra focus on reading, writing, arithmetic. And so a lot of times that can be lost in this. So I want you to know that CTE is for all students, and especially your students. Okay, so however we can help you.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was just going to show one report that really brings that even more so together. When you're working with your students and you're wanting to identify your group of students who has the strength in or aptitude for certain careers, career clusters, if you will, on the Bright Path homepage, going into data and reporting, you'll have the ability to see these different discovery reports. And again, discovery, talking about aptitudes, brain games. If you run this clusters alignment report, this is my favorite report. So I've got to set up a field trip, and I want to identify the specific career cluster to have this focus, and I want to get the right kids on the bus and attending that particular event. So I'll just keep her at the high school. When you create your group, this is where I wanted to show, when you have your group created and you have all your students, your IEP students, you'll be able to select just that particular group, and those students will be part of this data set only. So you don't have to worry about everyone else coming in on this one. But for today, I'm going to just pull graduation year 2027. So with this data set, the students to be part of this data set have to have completed the brain games, okay? So they can't be halfway done. But I can see for the graduation year 2027, I have 223 students who have completed the brain games. But now I can see this information is showing me the clusters that are there. And essentially what it's saying is I have, actually I'm going to do the sort, I'll do the highest. So financial services has the students, the most students who have the aptitude. So 223 students out of those 223, 42 of those students have an aptitude for financial services. 6 of the 223, they might be totally different than the 42, have an interest to it. But now I can go deeper and I can see those particular students. I won't go that far because of PII. But you can see the students that fall within that particular cluster. So now just think about the power of being able to say, okay, we're going to have this expo. We're going to focus on financial services. And there's a district out there that does this. They actually have their students identify the students that have a strength in financial services, and they say, what do you want to do with finance? So they're like, I don't want to be an accountant. So they have a low interest at that point. But then they have this expo, and they have many employers there from across the board. I think they had the Jazz there. They had baseball. I had bees, I had trappers on the old school is that, right? The bees on there. So the students are able to go and talk to these businesses and ask them, how does finance play into your employment? Well, when they left that expo, they had like an 80% interest of what they wanted to do, that understanding on that. But it starts with being able to come in and see which students have that aptitude to that particular cluster, and then get very specific. Create those personalized invitations. Hey, we're going to this expo, we're going to this field trip, we're having a guest speaker, whatever it might be. And then make sure those students are invited. They know, they learn that they've got the aptitude. Let's help them see how they can make that connection. And so there's so many ways you can do that. And then just one last thing on that, with the work-based learning, as I mentioned, being able to track what the students are doing, you can keep track of all of that. So you as a teacher can see, yeah, we've had X amount of experiences, events that the students have gone to, and we've had our special ed students specifically in these. I mean, there's so many ways you can run reports and track what you're doing with your students. It's just going to continue to build, well, your success as a special ed teacher and their success as students. CTE is going to increase in the number of students that take their courses, because they want to get those certifications that are industry recognized. They're not just paperweights. You know, they have a lot of value to them. So I know there was a question that I think Ginger had.
No, I was just going to add on to what Rod had said a few minutes ago, and that is, we have to remember that with our transition plans, right, we have to put in their course of study. And so when we're looking at going from 7th grade all the way to 12th grade, like, this is a great way to be able to map it out, along with the CTE books that Rod has brought for you guys. Because that is what the state requires us to do now, is whatever grade they're in now, we have to project their course of study all the way through 12th grade.
And how much time do I have left? Am I out or?
I think 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
Yeah.
Excellent. I do want to show this. This is a new feature that's actually going to be turned on for all the schools. It's the Family Connect, which I mentioned, where the parents will be able to have access to their student's account. We have a demo, couple students here that I was able to connect to. But this is what well, first the parents will get this video. They can see what this is all about. But the parents have the ability to come in and see if their student, whether they be in the middle school or the high school, they can come in and see their results. They can see the top career matches based on aptitude or interest. If their child's been saving, you know, the careers that they're interested in, the parent's going to be able to see that. When they get in and do the certifications, they'll be able to see the certifications here. And if they want to download that certificate, they can do that here.
Well, one thing that Paul has mentioned that you guys work on resumes with kids a little bit in your classes too. You can do resumes inside YouScience. You know, so it's kind of a one-size-fits-all program where you guys can go in and help students, you know, prepare for the future. I loved he implied it, but he talked a little bit about building a portfolio, like students actually creating it. Anymore, when students in like the creative arts go into a job interview, you know what they're asked for? A digital portfolio. That's what they actually take in. So you could start this process, whether it's the certifications or having them sort of house some of the information that or the activities and projects that they're getting, to be able to spearhead that.
Yeah, and just to show the resume builder, very step-by-step for the students. Now the middle school can access it, they can start working on the resume, but it really becomes much more dynamic in the high school, because as they're going through and they need the objective, what is your personal statement? Oh, what do I say to describe myself? There's links within each of the sections of the resume builder that'll take the students to the information that'll help describe who they are. And then skipping over a couple of the steps there, the certifications and awards, this is where the students can click into here, and this is my account, so I don't have any certifications there, but it'll take the student to the list of their certifications that they've received. Actually, not even just the ones received, all the ones that they've attempted. But again, yeah, it's all there. They can put it right into the resume. And then when it's done, it's a one-page PDF, clean, easy to read resume ready to go. And the students can edit it whenever they want. Yep. So, any questions? I know it's a lot of information I throw at you, but we are going to work at follow-up training. I did a webinar in September. Specifically for special education and how to incorporate using YouScience with special ed. And so some great ideas, if you will. It's also, again, kind of a passion of mine, special education. So I'm continuing to work on how we can provide additional resources that help you use this effectively for the students. So I'll have this, I'll share this out as well after.
What schools are you guys at? Roy Junior? Fremont.
Northwest, Snowcrest,
Weaver.
Gageville.
All right, so each of you have CTE coordinators that are over they're housed at high schools, but they're over your junior highs also. And they're gonna be reaching out to you after this too. Okay, so I wanna make sure that they know that there's somebody that they can go to on sort of a district level to be able to help you with some of this. Okay, so we'll follow up with that too. Okay? So, yeah, it sounded like this group in particular hadn't used it much. And so as we kind of get into it more, we are willing to provide the kind of training that you need. Okay, sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you guys.